Hey everyone, welcome to the second live show of the Obsidian Blade live on YouTube Live. How many are you alive? That's really the question, and that's why we come here to get together to know whether or not we're alive, especially as we make the shift from the old world to the new world, old Earth to new Earth, old paradigm to new paradigm, and please, it would be my honor to be your friend, ally, guide, sometimes healer, insightful buddy to the stars, and your full power. And what I want to talk about today is we hear a lot about manifestation. And, there is a growing list of new vocabulary words that we're beginning to use as we reference this idea of new earth. And one of those is being a creator. And that's very much connected to this art of manifestation. But manifestation itself, as an isolated experience or concept, has its issues, right? It has its complexities. And I wanted to dive in deeper today on what it means to be a creator, your natural state of being and what you're doing all the time. And that being a creator is actually only 1/4 of the full circle of what you are. And I want to dive deep into that. And I also think that it's very pertinent to talk about not only who you are and what you are, but where you are. Those are the three dominant themes that I continue to share on the Obsidian Blade, so that we have a real clear understanding. We gain clarity as to our conscious existence here in this now. And being where you are, we're also, when we talk about shift, where shift can translate to moving out of the matrix or the fake matrix, or what I like to call the system, moving out of the system and transitioning to the system of life, or what we're really existing in, which is the star system. And that helps us get really tuned into the galactic frequency thing as well. And, I want to continue the theme. The third point is I want to continue the theme of what we started to talk about yesterday, which was decolonizing this issue around the border and adding clarity to what you can do with this situation, which is a human situation. It's a humanitarian crisis. And as people who give a fuck and who should have more powers than the average Muggle Joe out there, with our focused intention, what can we do with our powers of clarity, or our powers of spirituality or sorcery or witchcraft? And I want to get into that as well. So, before we dive into that and get into some great details, I got a lot of good stuff for you. I just want to say, please subscribe to this channel, hit the notifications bell. I'm going live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I would love for you to be there, because this show is not just about me, it's about you, and I want to take your questions live. I want to hear what you think about what's coming through, or any sort of current situation that we're facing, as we make this shift, as we reclaim our power, as we heal our shadow or denied aspects of self. And that would be really great, because I want to hang out with you. There's no point in me doing this alone. I already have fun talking to myself. I'd like to have fun talking with you. So please hit subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and let's commingle in this digital realm, and so that we can add clarity to the collective consciousness. And if you're new to this channel, or you're new to the Obsidian Blade, here's what we do. As an intuitive, empathic creators coming back online and reclaiming our power, aka the heroes who have remembered themselves, Where we place our attention matters. And right now, there is a great realignment to our truth happening as we shift towards the sixth sun, living on a new earth along with our galactic reintegration. So we gather here together to cleanse what no longer serves us, to speak about what you will not hear in the mainstream deception machine, the landscape of fucked up old agendas. And we come here together to gain insight on the beliefs that no longer serve you or humanity and to cut that shit out. And again, if you're new to this experience, let me show you this little graphic that I put together. It's a podcast. It's been a podcast for 2 years. You can get it on Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher. And this live show will also be cleaned up and put on the podcast. So you can listen to all the old live shows on the podcast in the comfort of your own experience, wherever your experience is. And then, you can just share these videos with your friends and your family. It's going to be a real good time when we reclaim all of our power. So welcome back. Let me take a sip of caffeine, and then we're going to get this dream deconstructed. Okay, so what does it mean to be a creator? Again, when I was beginning the show or this episode, I was talking about, we hear a lot about manifestation, and it seems a lot of manifestation is hyper-focused on two things, typically money and relationships. And that's a good thing. We got to get that handled. It's a major concern, it seems, that has somehow been taken from us, or robbed from us, or made more complex than it should be. And you got to wonder about that. Why should something so natural be made so complex? But what does it mean to be a creator? One of the fundamentals of our existence is to remember what we really are. Where attention goes, energy flows. We know that phrase. So this falls into the bucket of what are you? You are someone who has awareness. You are someone who has the powers of attention. You are someone who understands that what you think about occupies your mind. And whatever occupies your mind does a myriad of things. It determines what you're going to do in this world. It determines what is going to be attracted to you, but it does something to your body on a physical level. It actually creates feelings and emotions and sensations. And those sensations and feelings and emotions are registered by your body. And then what the body will do over time is mimic the dominant thoughts that you have in your mind, so that actually over time, your mind doesn't have to think about your thoughts. Your body holds the frequencies of these thoughts. Your body literally embodies your thinking. And as someone who has been frustrated with this concept of the shadow in the past, and where is the subconscious? How can I get my hands on the subconscious? Because neuroscience shows us that our subconscious is 95%, if not a tiny bit more, of our living experience. And when you understand that, where do your thoughts go after you think them, other than out into the universe to magnetize things towards you? Your thoughts go into your body. And again, your body then will chemically morph around your own thinking, like I said, until it becomes standardized, reflexive, instantaneous. And that is where the subconscious is. Your body is actually the subconscious, other than being the heart-centered vehicle that allows you to travel across the planes of Earth and perhaps other existences. It's also your subconscious. And so when we do cleansing of the shadow or cleansing of subconscious patterns, as people who are oriented towards energy medicine or shamanism, this is where we do the work. We do the work of the cleansing, not only in the mind, which is a small percentage of the problem, if it's a problem, but it's the body that has stored your previous thinking. And that's the body is where we do the cleansing, or where we find the old thinking and then let it go. And then we typically let go of things because we've chosen to place our attention upon something new and give our focus to that, so that over time we chemically alter our body to match the new dominant thinking that is a positive, and we hope a positive new pattern in our life that brings us into not just closer, but brings us actually into the things that we want to experience. And, part of my own healing in this is, isn't it funny what we do when we examine what we want? We sometimes put what we want somehow way into the future. Like somehow we got trained that what we want is always not in the now, but always in the future. And that's one of the things that I clean up in my own shadow, is this weird distancing effect that you can do with the things that you really want to experience in your life, like love and money and travel, or whatever it is, new feeling experiences. Check that out in your meditations. When you start to focus upon new thinking, what timeline do you put your new thinking in? Where's the location of this new experience that you want? Again, never getting caught up in the how, because the mind can really drive itself crazy trying to figure out how to do all this stuff that we want. But rather to create space in our life to receive divine inspiration, receive the requests that we've made from the universe, the requests that we've made to our guides and allies, to create that space in order to be struck by inspirational lightning, to then take informed action. I mean, we can always do stuff immediately in regards to what we want, but is it the most effective? And in a lot of psychology studies and business studies, it's sometimes not about taking 100 actions. It's about taking the one action that gets you 100% of the results that you're looking for. So there's a level of efficiency that we can open up to when we start to create a space to allow a larger collective intelligence to inform us and match us in the frequency of what we want. So there's some details around being a manifester or a creator, and your fundamental state is a creator. So again, taking an inventory upon, or what you focus upon, and going like, do I like how I feel when I focus upon that? And is it necessary that I focus upon that ? And giving yourself liberation as to the contents of your own mind, or definitely the contents of what you're focusing upon. But being a creator, as I mentioned in the beginning, is only 1/4 of what you are. I mean, creator can be, call it a container for the whole concept of what we are. But within that container, there's 4 stations. And I made a map. And as I was saying yesterday, it's all about maps. So here we got 4 stations on a circle, and there's the 5th station in the center, and the 5th station is your consciousness. So no matter where you are on this circle, you're always in the center as far as your consciousness goes. So being a creator, like I said, is 1/4 of this. So here we are. Let's just say we're over on this side of this map. The process of creation is typically this. So you create, or you give birth to an idea, or you receive inspiration. And then you move across here to this station Once you've thought of something, what do you do with that thought? You've created the thought. You're going to do what? You're going to sustain that thought. That's the next station on this map of being a creator, is that you're going to sustain the thought until and to nurture that thought. So once you've given birth to something and created it, you're going to sustain it so that it's alive. You don't just create and then you don't think about it anymore, or you just ignore it. Whatever is important to you, you sustain, right? I think about your own relationships. How long can your relationships go if you don't nurture and feed and sustain them? They die out pretty quickly. When you neglect something, it dies out pretty quickly. You don't feed your dog or give it water, it's going to die pretty fucking quick. Don't do that, please. And so as a creator, okay, we've created something, we've sustained something, but also part of your power as a creator is to end creations, things that you don't want anymore. So that actually means you're over here on this side of the circle. After you've created, sustained, you destroy. And so to be a creator is also to be a destroyer, someone who ends the life of his or own creations. You want to make a change in your life, or you're done with something. What do? You kill it. You say no. Okay, I'm done. I'm full. I'm complete. Whatever the experience is that it is, a job, a relationship, a journey to somewhere, a vacation, whatever it is, or even there's the micro decisions at any time in the day. There's a micro cycle of creation. You choose to do something, you sustain it, and then you end it. So you are both creator and destroyer as a intelligent living being. And then what's this point over here? Because you notice in our society, we're always talking about birth and death. Birth and death. Birth and death are two extremes of this whole circle. What's this mysterious fourth point over here? Because we don't seem to talk about this fourth point much in our society. Seems kind of elusive as to what this is. And so as we reconnect ourselves to the map of life, of which this is a universal map of life, this is the point opposite sustaining. The opposite word for sustain is to neglect. But in this case on the map of life, we're not neglecting. After we kill something, we kind of neglect it, right? We're not feeding it any more energy. But part of this process is called deconstructing. This is when something dies. When you see an animal die, what happens to it? It deconstructs. And its energies go away, but its physical structure starts to decompose and go back into the earth. Same with your body, right? Same with the leaves that fall from a tree. It hits the ground, it starts to decompose, deconstruct, and the minerals, the essences of it go back into the earth and feed the system again. So this is a crucial point that we need to get back in touch with when we talk about being creators. We give birth to something, we sustain it, we kill it, and then we deconstruct it. So what happens when you end a romantic relationship, right? You gave birth to it, you sustained it, you kill it. No, I don't want to be with you anymore, unfortunately. Sometimes that happens. And then what do you do for the next, for me, like, what do you do for the next 6 months, depending on how intense that relationship was? What do you do for the next month, 6 months, or a year sometimes? Sometimes people take 10 years to do this next process. You deconstruct what you experienced so that you can do two things. You can cleanse yourself of any bad patterns that you had during that relationship. You can examine what was your mindset, what was your intention, right? You reflect upon the relationship for its pluses and minuses, what you don't want to experience anymore and what you do want to experience anymore. So by pulling it apart, by deconstructing it, you see all the elements that created it, and then what you do in that underground process. This is the underground. I'm going to talk about more of that in a second. What you do in that underground process after the death of it is to see what you want to discard and see what you want to keep as you now go around, because the circle's not done yet, to create a new beginning. As a creator, you are also rebirthed many, 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 many times in this life. You rebirth and you create a circle or you create a spiral and you rebirth after the deconstructed or compost phase, the underground phase. You come back up to the light and you live once again. You create that new job, or you create that next chapter in your life, or you get that new relationship. And you've taken the wisdom from the deconstruction phase and implemented it into the design of your next stage of your experience here on the earth. So when people talk about being a creator, remember, it's those 4 stations. It's a full wheel. You're both creator, sustainer, destroyer, and deconstructor. And not to confuse deconstruction with the act of death or killing something. It's a full wheel. And that this map is also, of course, the 4 seasons, right? In the East, we have spring, the birth of the year. The traditional birth of the year happens in spring. And then what happens in summer? We just had the summer solstice yesterday. You sustain the life of the years. You come into the warmth of the life, and it's sustainable. It's a sustained zone. And then what happens in fall? The leaves fall from the trees. Everything starts to die. Death happens in the fall. It doesn't happen in winter. It happens in fall. Winter is where we deconstruct what we experienced in spring and summer and fall. We take the nutrients from the fallen leaves in the autumn and we nourish ourselves from what we've stored in the realm of life as we go into hibernation, as we go into the deep underground process, only to be rebirthed back in spring. So again, this is, as a creator, this is what you do in your life, but also we live within the cycle of life. So this is a really key point to say. How do we know anything that I'm saying is true, or what you read about in a book is true? How do you know any of that's true other than what feels good to you and your intuitive intelligence? When we take our eyes and we start to observe the natural world, not the fake system world, the system of the consumer. When I say take your awareness and place it on the rhythms of life itself, then this stuff is pretty obvious. This is not made up. You just look at life. What's life doing? And you, where do you live? You live in the center. You live within the realm of life. You live within the year. You live within the planet. This is you at the center of that experience, always observing, interacting with this process of birth, sustaining, death, deconstructing. And so again, if you want to know something's true, either this, what I'm just saying right now, or anything in your life, take it to her. Take it to the earth. Ask her, is this true? And show me where in nature this happens so that I can observe it and say, okay, since I live within the realm of life, may my actions also be aligned with life itself. May my intelligence and my awareness and my instructions come from life. And going forth as manifestors or creators or creator beings who entertain infinite possibility. Hold on, there's a jet. May our inspirations and our actions be aligned with life itself. And life and nature those words, that word to me is the same thing. And what is nature? What is your true nature? Because for me, nature isn't a forest, 10 miles from your home or something you go to on the weekend. Nature is existence. And when I talk about nature, I'm talking about forests, I'm talking about the planet, I'm talking about the solar system, I'm talking about the galaxy, I'm talking about the universe. That whole thing, that's nature. And where do you come from? It is quite natural for you to be an extension of this essential and true nature. So if you have resistance to that, then we have work to do there, right? Because it's kind of scary to be this tiny little human and go, wow, I'm connected to all of that. Yeah, you are. You are all of that. Not only are you connected to all of that, but you are all of that. And so we have to find bravery in being who we really are, which is nature, and having a connection, a relationship, a dialogue, a communication with our own nature. And so again, when we observe the natural world and we create, we mimic the maps of life that surround us, this will go a long way to anchoring you to what is real, right? Because we understand the downfall of anchoring yourself to something that's not real, anchoring yourself to the trends of a society, right? That's fun. That's where we like to play. It's a costume that's always changing, but what's the ground underneath it, right? And to get connected with the ground underneath it so that when the trends change, when society changes or timelines shift and there's a new world in front of you, you understand how we can all get caught up in the way it was, right? Think about people who lament for how the world was in the 60s. And then think about the people who were in the 1960s and who lamented how the world was in the 1920s. And think about the people in the 1920s who lamented, God, I wish it was the way it was in the 1880s, right? And on and on and on and on. Time is shifting the human perspective, but what is the core essential truths underneath the ever-shifting sands of time, time, time? And thus, that is your simple task as intelligence here to roll with the punches, to get to what's real, if I quote Van Halen. So there is more to this map. There is definitely more to this map. I think the last thing I'll say on this map, and we can, again, with any of these things that I bring up, we can revisit them together in the next live episode. So hit me up, chat, send me your questions. This map is also a map of every day. This map is a lot of maps, actually. It's like a whole lot of maps in one map. It references many, many things, since all things are life. So this is also a day. You got when the sun rises, you've got 12 noon, the sustaining of the day. You've got when the sun sets. And then this is the nighttime when we dream and we reconfigure our life, when we decompose the day, we deconstruct the day, and we rest. We take refuge from being a human and we dream. And then we rise again. We are reborn. And we have taken the wisdom and the knowledge of the lessons of what came before us, and now we make new decisions. We give birth to new existences, new adventures, new friends, new lovers, whatever, it's new again. And so we do this cycle every day. We live a full year every day when you look at this map of life. So that's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to bring about when we talk about, hey, you're a creator being, but you're also a destroyer and a sustainer and a deconstructionist. So be the full wheel as a creator. The second point I want to talk about in this episode, it's interesting. I mentioned yesterday, I've been out of the United States for a year, which means I've been out of the United States for most of the current, I don't want to say his name, the current President Trump's existence or administration or mishandling. I don't know. Look, I'm not one of those people who are here to attack this person, because I realize a lot of people have needs that he represents, and I don't want to deny people's needs, but it's interesting being back now, and I have fresh eyes, and it's interesting just being back 1 month, and now this issue, which has been going on the whole time about the border, still exists, and is now at a head or crisis head, where children are getting fucked over. This is where I draw the line. This is everything. I haven't been involved. Like I said, when you're out of the country, you're not subjected to the system trying to indoctrinate you into the 24-hour news cycle. It is such a relief to live in what a friend of mine said, a sanctuary place. There are sanctuary places on the earth right now. If you want to remove yourself from the system or remove yourself from the matrix, thank God there are sanctuary spaces. And we are, so grateful that those exist. So being in a sanctuary space, I was not subjected to the 24-hour indoctrination mental cycle, which is engineered to fuck with your emotions. It's also engineered to fuck with your righteousness and also consume you, to consume your attention. And again, going back to being a creator, when your attention is consumed by the agenda of the system or another, then you're not focused upon what matters to you, right? And I know that could sound selfish, but it is important to be focused upon what you want to bring about, because you are here to bring about beauty. And when your mission of bringing about more beauty to the world is interrupted by a system that wishes to corrupt your essential nature, then this is when you must say, I've got to say no and take a stand, perhaps, or at least to take actions that minimize or obliterate or get rid of this entity, these energies that wish to hijack you as a creator and use your awareness to procreate itself, its agenda. And that's some pretty deep shit there, that you're being hijacked willingly, and we can get into that, how that works. You're being hijacked to procreate not just an agenda, but the existence of some pretty nasty shit. And so cleansing what you consume as far as media, cleansing or protecting your space, your fertile embryonic creation space from outside infection is very important. But it's interesting to go like, well, okay, I protect myself. I keep myself safe. I create what I want. I'm not infected or informed by the agenda of the system. I allow and I align myself with life and the star system. But what do we do for the kids right now who are getting fucked over on that border? The indigenous peoples of America, whose land this is, are trying to cross a fucking made up border. Whether they're from Mexico or they're from Latin America, at the heart of what those people represent, they are the indigenous peoples of the America. or the Americas. And isn't it weird that we, the colonists who came here hundreds of years ago, or in my case, I came here to this country when I was 2 years old. I came across the ocean from England with my parents. I'm an immigrant. If you're not from the Americas, you're from somewhere else. And if you're from somewhere else, isn't it weird to live in a system that bars the people who naturally live here from walking freely about its own landscape, their own landscape, called the Americas? And before it was called America, it was called, by some tribes, Turtle Island. I would love to know more indigenous names for the landmass that is now known as North America and South America. I know there's Pachamama, but as far as the peoples of, the Americas, though the North America go, is it Tonantzin, which is a name for the earth, which the Nahua speaking people used? But, I want to know more names of what this land, the land itself, not just the earth, but the land was called. But so we have to look at this issue of the border as an issue of colonization and something that needs to be decolonized. So I mentioned yesterday there's only so much you can do if your boots are not on the ground. So please donate to the agencies like ACLU. There's another one I linked to yesterday where your money is going to go, your action of sending money is going to be better than you just being, frantic about it and not knowing what to do. But it's time to call this shit show, the hypocrisy shit show, out. It is time to call the hypocrisy shit show out. These people who call them, these colonists, it's funny to say that. I don't know how any other word, we're talking about decolonization. That means then colonized sounds very insect-like. Anyway, we've got to, call out the hypocrisy of people who call themselves Christian, yet are fucking racists. People who go to church on Sunday and say, "Oh, Lord, give me everything I want," yet deny other people that same right to work and have access to resources and make a better life for themselves. This is an old mindset where the powers that are in control of the old system have sold you, or sold those who are asleep still, that resources are limited, that there's only so many people who can be rich, there's only so many people who can own a fancy car, and if it's not you, somebody else is going to get what you were supposed to get. So you better protect what's yours. That is bullshit. And as spiritual, shamanic, new agers who are building their businesses and spreading the word of what's up, we also have to be very extra vigilant as to not take that frequency into what we do, into New Earth and into the future. We won't even get access to New Earth if you bring that frequency in, by the way. But when we look at people who are doing what we also do on the internet and on Instagram and on YouTube, if we're going to make the shift to the age of Aquarius, to New Earth, to the sixth sun, then this is a sun of cooperation. This is a sun of transforming me into we, and to ultimately recognize the infinite magnitude of the abundance of the true universe, and that everyone is destined to get theirs. There is no limitations except the ones we create and co-create, and let us be empowered to wipe ourselves free, to cut ourselves free from any mental chains of bondage that limit the infinite potential of not only the universe, but us, the universe incarnate. Move from me to we, and success shall be yours. So find within you where you still subscribe to limitation, where you still subscribe to, if I don't do it first, somebody's else gonna do it, and then all the money and the fortune and the fame and the love and the care and the attention's gonna go to them, and I'm gonna be alone. No. We have got to get over that, and get over it very, very quickly, because if we, the people who are being leaders of change embodied, if we do not embody this first, then we will not be able to set the example for others. And right now, those others are the people who endorse things like separating children from their parents because their parents want to come here and have a good life to feed their family. Okay? That's competitive. That is competitive. And the system itself is promoting that competitiveness. Now, there is a healthy competitiveness out there that builds your muscles and gets you strong and gets you in the game and makes you articulate and has your business refine itself so that what it offers is totally awesome. That's the positive, healthy side of competition. But competition when it's kill or be killed, that is a survival mind state. That is a reactionary, survival-driven mind state, and it's not elevated. And once we elevate ourselves, we can integrate that competition into consciousness and say, I know the healthy level of competition. I know the healthy level. And what I want to do with that healthy level is make the best offering I can, the best medicine I can, the best show I can. So I honor your time and give you good information so that you come back and we hang out together and we make the mindset shift and the frequency shift so that we become the leaders of change. We know in our hearts we are and must be, and here we are. We're doing it. Until the old mindsets are just so irrelevant that anybody who has an old mindset that is highly competitive, where it's kill or be killed, only some people can have the riches and everybody else not. We have to make that type of thinking so obsolete. And how you make something so obsolete, you just stop engaging it altogether. You get back on the wheel of life, the map I was showing you earlier, and you say, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. I'm going to be a destroyer today. I'm going to destroy that thinking, deconstruct it, and give birth to new ideas, and then take the wisdom of all this fucked upness, take the wisdom, because there's wisdom in the fucked upness. Take the wisdom from the fucked upness and put it back into life in the service of you, in the service of those you care about, and the service of the planet, and the service of intelligence. We can do it. Make the old way of thinking obsolete by completely removing your energy from it and placing it in the direction and the alignment with life. There is abundance for all here in existence. That's it. Say it over and over and over and over again. There is abundance for all in this system of life, this star system of existence. There is infinite for all. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to just ask, again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notifications bell so that you know when we go live, because I want to see you there. I want to interact with you. If you haven't already, also please subscribe to the podcast, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher. You can find all those links in the description below this video and also at theobsidianblade.com/subscribe. And, I'm also on Instagram doing some unique creative work there. And wherever we can, let's connect. Let's share ideas. Let's get to the root cause and embody the new thinking to cleanse the old patterns from our subconscious, which is our body, so that space is made for new frequencies that are aligned with life and our true powers as a creator to exist. It's been so fun hanging out with you live and here on the replay and on the podcast eventually. I love you so much. Again, we're doing this live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check out the last 2 episodes, this one and the previous one. Bring your questions for Monday, and I will see you there. Love you so much. Have a great day.